Hello, everyone. Thank you for all attending. Hope you're having a good day there and hope you've enjoyed our previous webinars and it hasn't been too much of an information overload. So this will be the second last one and today's webinar is going to be on adapting your training provider to the new working culture with Wisenet's powerful workflow engine. So today's speakers will be myself and Nalina. I'll begin by discussing the change in office culture and business strategy. Nalina is then going to go into detail about Wisenet's workflow engine. So just before we do delve into the details there, a quick slide on the housekeeping. We've divided our presentation into two 20-minute sessions, allowing for a 10-minute Q&A break in between. I do request that you wait until breaks to ask any questions. However, please feel free to raise your hand at any point if you do have any technical difficulties at all. You can also use the chat option to type in any questions or even chat with other fellow participants. There'll be plenty of time for questions at the end of each session, so don't stress. Most importantly as well, stay tuned for the quiz at the end of the session, where you will stand a chance to win a Wisenet hoodie and enter a draw for a $500 gift card. We will also be giving away a Wisenet hoodie to a lucky participant from our session, which I've been told have just come in and are extremely comfortable. So I wanted to start this off with a light foot. So before we do begin, a bit of a poll question. Now, remember, honesty is the best policy here. So please feel free to answer it truthfully. And remember, it is anonymous. The question will be hand on heart, are you wearing PJs right now? So take your next 20 seconds to answer this question. I'm thinking the third answer, business on top, PJs on the bottom, is probably going to be the most clicked, but we'll soon find out. Never. That's impressive. I feel like we might have a few people in here telling a couple of fibs. All right. Well, anyway, as we move on, I'll kind of sort of start us off. So as we well know, the pandemic has forced the adoption of new ways of working, and organizations must reimagine their work and the role of officers in creating a safe, productive and enjoyable jobs and lives for their employees. During these lockdowns, organizations have necessarily adapted to go on collaborating and to ensure that the most important processes could be carried on remotely. Most have simply transformed their existing processes to emerging working contexts, imitating what had been done before the pandemic. Now, this has worked well for some organizations and institutions, but not for others. This, of course, could be dependent on whether you were primarily paper-based or more primarily digitalized. Organizations should look to utilize this time and identify the most important processes for each major business and re-envision them, often with the involvement of their employees. This effort could examine their professional development journeys, for instance, being physically present in the office at the start, then obviously working remotely later down the track, and the different stages in between. We're all wondering what's it going to be like when employees do return back to the office, which is why I think it's so important to gather feedback from your employees and see what they'd like to see when they do return, or any changes that can be made whilst they're working remotely. I think it's important to understand that it may not be the same as before, and establishing that new work-life balance is essential to increasing your productivity. Some of you may also be aware that we have introduced a survival kit and might have received our marketing emails out there. So we've obviously got quite a lot of industry experience within this area. So within this kit, it helps you as an RTO understand what you can be doing during this particular time to increase efficiency, productivity, and just overlook your organization. So within our 5-point plan, what we've got is our online learning. Now, some of you may have already spoken to me or other various platforms about it, but that means just leveraging on software such as Moodle, Zoom Education, Cloud Assess, and allowing your content to be delivered in an online content. And also when it comes to communication. So obviously, if everyone's working from home, it can be a bit difficult to keep communication as high as it once was when it was in the office. So leveraging on applications such as Zoom, Slack, Teams. I mean, if you're using just email to keep in touch with everyone, that can obviously increase the chance of inefficiencies arising. And also survey tools. Not only just, as I mentioned above, not only just sending it out to your current employees and finding out how they're feeling and what they'd like to see, but also to your learners. They're the ones that are bringing in all the revenue, the most important part of your organization, the heartbeat of it all. Find out how they're feeling about it, if there's anything you could do on your end to make it a bit, make the quality of your product a bit better. And also a digital presence. So we all know websites can take their time to get a bit clunky and tend not to get updated as regularly as we'd like, just because of other work coming into our hands. So use this time to re-overlook your website, see what else can be done. If it does need refining, we'd be more than happy to have a chat with you about that as well. And last but not least is cybersecurity. So as we're all well aware of the cybersecurity threats that have recently come across Australia, more primarily faced at governmental organisations and larger organisations, but a level indicator that you should be looking at your security system and making sure everything's up to scratch and date. The last thing you want is something to come in and screw up your data. We know how important that is. We've already run a webinar on this one as well, but I'm sure being in the industry, you've all heard about it, but preparing yourself for the job trainer as well. The $1 billion stimulus package coming in, potentially 340,000 traineeships or programs. So if you're able to get one of these onto your scope, it's a great opportunity for a revenue boost. So definitely something that I'd suggest looking into as well. And the RTO health check. So, feel free to get in touch with us because we've got quite a lot of understanding on what software you can be using during this time to kind of create a bit more of a streamlined organization. Essentially just wanting to reinforce that we're here to help your organization pivot during this time. And last but not least, asking, are you okay? Obviously this pandemic has taken a toll mentally. I think we'd all, the general consensus is that we all agree on that. So it can be as simple as just asking your employees, your colleagues, are they okay? How are they finding it? Even asking your learners, and it gives it a very good personalized approach. Now, when it comes to the business strategy side of things, obviously the pandemic has changed a lot. And for business leaders, navigating through a crisis means focusing not just on the short-term survival, but on pivoting the business and processes to reduce unnecessary costs, optimize team performance, and be prepared for the long-term future of the business and environment. Automation and digitalized processing tools such as e-invoicing, leveraging on software such as Xero, can help deliver these benefits and help protect small and medium-sized businesses from the negative effects of a recession. With such a strong focus on working remotely and adopting a more digitalized approach due to the current landscape, I think it's important not to just stop there. Analyze and look over your current processes. It's a perfect time whilst it's still fresh to visit what's currently in place and ways to improve and increase efficiency. This can include having an online learning strategy. If you didn't attend our morning webinar, Preparing for the Digital Economy and Moving Your RTO Online, these will be made available on our webinar page, along with all the other resources mentioned above. Now, we all understand what the education and training industry is like. Changes take time. Ineffective processes stuck in their ways can remain an ongoing hindrance for months and even years. Identifying these and reevaluating how they can be done is vital to your ongoing success. The RTO industry environment is ever-changing. Those of you who have been around long enough understand if you don't keep up, it can cause a lot of issues further down the track when events such as COVID occur, which means putting a strong focus on automation. This can free up a vast amount of resources and time throughout your organization and institution. Most people resist creating or modifying business systems because it feels like extra work. I understand that we're all busy and it's easy to feel like you don't have the time to create and improve systems because there's already too much work on your plate. But useful and effective systems make your work easier. If you're feeling overloaded, the best thing you can do to solve the issue is to spend time creating a good system. Effective systems are the lifeblood of your business, allowing you to create, market, and sell, and ultimately deliver what you have to offer. The better your system, the better your business, the better your offering. With that being said, I'll now pass you on to our product specialist, Nalina, who will take you through some of Wisenet's functionalities, which your organization can look to leverage and utilize to free up some resources and time.
Cool. Thank you very much, Ben, for the insight into the importance of being able to adapt quickly to the new normal. Now, I want to start us off with a quote from Andy Grove, former CEO of Intel and one of the great business leaders of Silicon Valley. Bad companies are destroyed by crisis, good companies survive them, and great companies are improved by them. Now, we have been hit by a sudden crisis in the year 2020, placing many of us into survival mode and forcing us to think of different ways to keep our head above water. But it also presents an opportunity for those of us who think ahead to grow beyond our day-to-day. Now, I commend those of you who are here to learn more in order to achieve more. And I want to share with you the ways in Wisenet where I believe you can future-proof your business and be successful beyond 2020. Firstly, let's talk about the importance of a cloud-first strategy. Now, back in 2015, companies had, on average, only 18% of their workloads in the cloud, according to a research study conducted by management consulting firm Bain & Company. When the pandemic hit, many of us were not able to head back to work. Campuses were forced to shut and complications ensued. Learners couldn't come back to class, physical records on campus could not be accessed, and communication between teams was tough to coordinate. However, those who had thought ahead and adopted a cloud-first strategy and already implemented cloud-based solutions like Wisenet were able to adapt quickly and easily to minimize the downtime for their business. Now, for training providers who had moved in sync with the increasing learner demand for online learning years ago, they could deploy their existing e-learning infrastructure, adapting at very short notice from delivering face-to-face learning to remote and online learning. Those who had not have to scramble in order to keep their bottom line. Now, if you don't know where to start in selecting the right e-learning platform, some things to look out for are, of course, cost, learner experience, and the ability to integrate with your existing software. There are many popular LMSs on the market, such as Canvas and Cloud Assess, but one that has been on the market for almost 20 years and one that we highly recommend is Moodle. Now, as a Moodle partner, Wisenet has created a two-way Moodle integration that allows you to synchronize learner and enrollment data into Moodle and grade data back into Wisenet. By controlling enrollments within Wisenet LRM, double data handling is effectively eliminated. Now, staff who are working from home will no longer need to go through the cumbersome task of enrolling and validating learner studies with their colleagues. They also don't need to enroll and remove students from the e-learning platform, doing everything from within one singular Wisenet LRM. Now, the Wisenet Moodle connectors also provide you with the time-saving benefits of integration, streamlining administrative processes with the freedom of you either hosting your own instance of Moodle or us doing so for you. Wisenet staff are also well-versed in various aspects of the platform, so we can get you up and running in no less than a week. Now, if you already have Moodle or are looking at it, please contact us after the session so we can have a chat to help you get that integration going. However, if you do not use Moodle, Wisenet will be introducing a new integration that is designed to work easier with other LMSs. We went into greater detail on it during the morning session today, preparing for the digital economy, but if you did not get the chance to attend, this is pretty much how the simplified version of the integration will work. It will push selected learners from Wisenet into your e-learning course. And to bring the grades back, our new feature, the auto grade, will allow you to set customized grading criteria, which will then seamlessly translate them into compliant and reportable values in Wisenet. This can be used for e-learning apps like Canvas, enabling your teams to move between familiar platforms and reduces the need for further training. The greater transparency, coupled with flexibility, will allow your training organization to leverage on existing software to further streamline your operations and remove lengthy and error-prone handovers, especially when interactions take place outside a physical working environment. Now, another advantage of moving to the cloud is having all your learner records online, allowing key information to be accessed by both staff and students. Wisenet's cloud-based solution lets your learners access their records through the Learner app. The Learner app is customizable through your portal settings, allowing you to brand it according to your provider's needs. The app is also configured so learners can view or edit their personal details if you allow them to. They can update their details and emergency contacts and even enter their USI in the Learner app. While they're progressing through their enrollment, instant updates in Wisenet LRM are reflected in the training history section of the Learner app, so learners can immediately see how they fared the moment their results are released. Because this is cloud-based, the data is reflected on a live basis, so they can view their class schedules, their attendance percentage, and click immediately into their e-learning platform from the same application. If you've uploaded documents such as the student handbook or policies and procedures, or their individual offer letter or training plan, these can all be made visible in the Learner app. Now, if you've even integrated an online payment platform with your Xero, learners can see their invoices and pay the outstanding ones without leaving the application as well. Most importantly, the app is simple and intuitive to use. Learners can log into the self-serve portal to look up what they want anytime, anywhere, saving you and your staff members hours of answering simple questions so you have time to address the complicated ones. Now, another stakeholder that can highly benefit from a cloud-based solution is your trainers. Learner records can be accessed by trainers from any location using a device that has a web-based browser. Data in the trainer app is updated live, much like the Learner app, and can act as a bridge between the trainers, learners, and admin staff. They are also able to mark attendance for their own classes, recording time in and time outs to get an automatic calculation of minute of attendance percentage, which can then be seen by the learner in their Learner app. So trainers can also update their learner outcomes in bulk or individually, giving them the tools needed to translate their marking into compliant and reportable results without the hassle of submitting a report or going back and forth through emails with their colleagues. Now, on the premium edition, trainers can also communicate directly with learners from their own class lists, allowing them to send email reminders or emergency SMSs in bulk. Now, most importantly, trainers can see the key parts of the learner's profile, including their logbook, with entries made by other staff members to gain a deeper understanding of the other facets of the learner's enrollment in the training organization. By allowing visibility between Wisenet LRM, the trainer app, and the learner app, everyone can see how every single learner is progressing, giving us the ability to stay on top of both the learner's education needs and compliance reporting without the need to see each other physically in a post-COVID working environment. Now let's stop here for a quick Q&A session. Now there are a couple of questions which has popped up in the chat and in the Q&A. So let's take a quick look.
Seems like Ash is all over the questions.
Yes. So we have Ash and Mary who are joining us as panelists who will also help us answer some questions. So
I'll answer Betty's question live if I can there, Nell, please.
Yes.
Betty, let's take that question on notice and have a discussion one-on-one because I need to understand better what you're trying to achieve. So we can help and support you guys in how to run Moodle and work with Moodle. However, it depends on the detail you require as to how much we would support you on. So that's Betty's one.
And Stuart asked, learning management, do you have APIs? And it looks like Ash
has answered
well.
that.
Mhm.
Yep.
If there's not any more questions, should we just proceed then, Alina?
Anyone typing in a question or for overholder, please? Not to worry, we do have another Q&A
Always just type it in.
at the, is there anyone typing? No.
No.
So we do have another Q&A session at the end of today. So don't worry if you didn't get a chance to add to add your question to the chat. Don't fret. Yeah. Okay. Now moving forward, in order for us to work effectively in the new working culture, we need to practice clear, open, and effective internal communication within the entire team. However, it does get a little difficult if we're not able to see each other and communicate in person regularly. So I just want to run a quick poll here to ask you guys, how do you talk to your colleagues when working from home? So I'm going to launch a poll. And it should come up on screen shortly. Now, tell us, when you're working from home, what do you use mainly to talk to each other? The phone, over email? Do you not have to work from home? Just tell us what's your most popular one. So it'll take about 30 seconds. Thanks for submitting your answers, guys. Wonderful. Give it another 3 more seconds. So those of you who haven't voted, please put that in. Wonderful. Okay. So I can see that the lucky 8% of you don't work from home. Another 8% of you speak mainly to your colleagues over the phone, and 27% of you send emails. 8% of you use Zoom. A staggering 35% of you use Microsoft Teams, which is very interesting and definitely give a lot of insight. And 11% of you use internal messaging software and 3% other. Wonderful. So you do talk to each other through a variety of ways. Now, by using a single source of truth and a direct line of information, we can look at measures to prevent confusion and double handling. Now, this can be done through a variety of ways in Wisenet. So let's take a look first at the logbook. Now, I'm sure many of you already use this very popular feature, but are you using it to its full potential? Now, in the logbook, there is 100% visibility with everything that goes on. All your records are unified, preventing any communication gaps between different departments. So even for Wisenet, we do use internal messaging systems, but messages can get lost, especially if there's no tracking ability that lets us push it to another specific record. So in Wisenet, however, every interaction is neatly sorted in chronological order, making it easier for you to pick up where anyone left off as well. With the Wisenet logbook, messages between admin, trainers, and learners will no longer be lost. You will be able to see all related records for the learner, all file notes, emails, SMSs, issued you report documents, and assign tasks through the enrollment. You can even make specific records visible in both the trainer and learner app. Also, you can see the delivery status of messages clearly in the logbook record. So in the event that an email bounces or an SMS fails, the sender can act on it immediately. If the sender though has logged off for the day, or if the failed event was not picked up, the count will still be reflected immediately in the failed event section of the login dashboard on the top right. So whoever logs into Wisenet next will be prompted to investigate and rectify it straight away when they see it. Now, before we were relegated to working from home where possible, we had the comfort of asking a colleague to assist with or take care of a work item in person and via post-it notes. Now, this was easy to do for short tasks. However, for longer projects like gathering a learner's assessment evidence over a period of time, or engaging in monthly follow-up phone calls to see how learners are coping, it proved to be a struggle to spread these tasks evenly, and have a top level overview of how they were progressing. The task section was introduced to curb these problems, giving users a centralized space to easily add and assign tasks to their colleagues regardless of geographical location, department, or access level. Now, it uses email notifications to alert the assignee when a task has been added or updated to the board. As long as you have a Wisenet login, you will be able to have a complete overview of your tasks within not started, in progress, pending, and completed stages, easily organizing and prioritizing your work to achieve your goals. The drag and drop system makes it easy for you to move your tasks from one stage to the other. And the inbuilt searching and filtering system allows you to sort them by sections, keywords, and due dates. You can also file share within the task itself, making it easier for the next person to locate and add files related to it. So it not only saves your team time without having to ask for the same documents, but it also enables them to place other work-related files in the right place to make it easily accessible to others. You can also assign tasks to a group of users, such as your admin staff, to allow for shared responsibility and teamwork, which means that it does not matter who is rostered on for the next shift, the task can always be easily picked up and completed by the next person. Now, for team leaders using Wisenet Task Management System, it gives you a high-level overview of all activities in the task board that are assigned to your team, down to a specific member and how each task is progressing through the pipeline. Now, for example, if a learner is missing some evidence for their assessment requirements, the trainer can create a task for the admin team to contact the learner as soon as possible to ensure the learner graduates on time. Now, whoever logs into Wisenet LRM next will see the number of overdue and total task statistics on their dashboard, so they can action anything that is due on a certain day. This will remove any missed deadlines and ensure that the entire team is moving cohesively despite working in different environments. Now, although 63% of shopping occasions begin online according to Think with Google, the education industry is notorious for keeping paper-based applications. Now, this is due to a whole myriad of reasons. However, in the new world of 2020, many of us will now pause to think before handing a learner a pen over the counter or giving them a brochure without first sanitizing it. So this is the time where we need to leverage the digital space. Now, according to digital marketing company WebFX, 94% of first impressions are related to your site's web design, and 75% of website credibility comes from design. Many training providers are in need of a website update to add value and stand out from the crowd. However, the majority of us are quite time poor and cannot set this as a priority. So this is where Wisenet can come in to share our expertise on website content, design, and layout. So over 20 years of having stood in both the education and the software space has given us the unique advantage of understanding your industry's needs, allowing us to draw on insider knowledge to form a comprehensive digital action plan catered for the education industry. Now, on top of that, we will also assist with SEO checks for your marketing strategies and work with you to increase your footprint in the digital space to ensure you are successful in attracting new enrollments and generating leads. Now, I'll post the link to our free consultation in the chat window, so please move quickly to ensure that you are ahead of the digital game. So here's the link. Now, on top of having a website for learners to explore your courses, the enrollment process must also be seamless in order to convert website visitors and sales leads into actual learners. Having an integrated online enrollment portal allows you to easily publish courses and intakes to your website for applicants to browse and apply. You can accept payments easily and securely capture all essential data like USI, pushing required fields directly into Wisenet LRM and saving time by reducing the need for double data entering. Now you can review each course enrollment to check for credentials and eligibility, allowing you to control the quality of your applicants too. Once the application is accepted and the students enrolled, workflow automation via Learncycles can send out offer letters, confirmation emails, and a whole slew of other activities, which I will touch on later in my presentation. So with your end-to-end process kept in a single ecosystem, you are now prepared to work from any location with the software and support of the Wisenet team from start to finish. Now, pre-COVID, sales teams used to keep complicated spreadsheets of potential applicants who submitted their inquiries online or called for more information. Now, even with the use of Google Sheets, it was hard to nurture the lead due to the lack of a consistent pipeline. Many opportunities were lost in the gaps through a process that was hard to keep track of. Now, with teams increasingly split across different locations, many training providers are finding it difficult to keep their leads in a centralized location. So for every single person here today, the Wisenet Sales CRM is already available in your account, completely free of charge with unlimited users regardless of your addition. So with the Sales CRM, you can use reports and dashboards to evaluate data to identify the key sources of your enrollments to influence your marketing strategy. You can also communicate with your lead quickly and keep track of where your leads are within the sales pipeline. Furthermore, enroll them at the end of the sales process, effectively completing the learner's end-to-end management from initial inquiry to close sale to enrollment to graduation. Now, let's take a closer look at how to achieve that. You can manage your sales funnel by creating your own custom stages and move each opportunity through the pipeline. Now, the high level of customizability also expands to the source of your opportunities, your sales owners, and various aspects of the pipeline as defined by your business. This not only provides a high-level overview of all leads within each stage, but it also ensures no single prospective lead falls through the cracks. On top of that, the inbuilt integration from Wisenet Sales CRM to Wisenet LRM can be triggered by simply moving an opportunity to the closed won stage, allowing you to enroll the learner directly into their selected course, creating a seamless transition from inquiry to enrollment. Now, as having experience in both sales and admin of an RTO, I can testify that the process of point of inquiry to confirm the enrollment can be complicated and fraught with double handling. Now, with the Wisenet Sales CRM, you can now focus on your learners and not processes. Now, on top of that, the sales logbook can be used to communicate with the lead directly, ensuring every single inquiry is answered and followed up on. Now, there's 100% visibility with every interaction in the sales process. So like the Wisenet Learner Logbook, everything is logged in the contact logbook, capturing every email, conversation, or document in chronological order, which will make it easier for you or your colleague to pick up where you left off. Now, you can also define the data you need for your sales records, customizing fields to sort your data into meaningful, organized data, and you can pull that into your sales dashboards and reports. Now, for those of you who have external stakeholders who contribute to your overall enrollments, you can also add them into the CRM as workplaces or agent sales contacts, allowing you to concurrently nurture the relationship with them to build meaningful connections. All in all, we aim to have software that addresses gaps in workflow efficiencies, whether it's caused by physical distancing or not. Earlier, we looked at the native Wisenet Moodle integration and our new e-learning integration. Now let's look at a few more applications which integrate with the wider Wisenet ecosystem. Now the three native apps are Xero, Moodle, and SurveyMonkey, which fulfill key priorities of different departments, but are required to work hand in hand to ensure a holistic learning experience. Wisenet integrates with Xero to push learner data to Xero and pull invoice information back. The instant data sync allows Wisenet users to see the payment summary in the learner profile, giving them an indication of the fee related to the enrollment. We also saw earlier in the presentation that invoices are synced to the learner app, so learners can see their invoice history and pay for their outstanding fees if Xero is linked to an online payment platform. Now, admin can also draw on Wisenet reports to pull out finance information linked to enrollments. This will enable greater transparency between the admin and the finance departments, fostering assurance, especially if they are unable to see each other in person. Now, another native app we have integrated with is SurveyMonkey, creating a direct communication line for learners to submit their suggestions and feedback is essential for continuous business improvement and improving the overall relationship with your learners. Now you can send surveys to an individual or a group of learners and capture all the results from within Wisenet LRM. Now we also have quality indicator survey templates which are already available for you to select. Being able to access, align, and act on your SurveyMonkey results and data directly from Wisenet gives you the benefit of gaining insight into your customer experience. Now, with rapid changes to the way we do things, we want to look inward at the features which can be further maximized in order for us to adapt quickly and optimize our team's performance. Now, using Learncycle workflows, you can adapt and automate your processes, reducing admin overhead by automating manual and repetitive administrative processes. Now, by setting a standardized process for the Learncycle workflow engine to perform for you, you can eliminate manual processes like data replication, creating efficiency and fostering cohesion in your team. Triggers can be used to automate tasks and assign them to appropriate staff with custom due dates. Contracts and offer letters can be generated at the desired stage of the student life cycle, like inquiry. Now use the Learncycle workflow triggers to automate the integration of data between applications like Xero and Moodle to Wisenet in the learner profile and send personalized messages to your learners without lifting a finger. Furthermore, you can customize the status reason trigger, giving you the nuanced flexibility to handle large groups of learner workflows. You can further target your audiences by dividing them into lists, allowing you to control the different workflows required for different learners. The if this, then that Learncycle model gives you and your team the ability to regain time for pressing and complicated issues, giving the mundane and monotonous workflow to the Learncycle engine to take care of. So you can see here that this is a typical workflow that a training provider follows for an international student. So step one, the application is received and a learner profile is created in Wisenet. The learner is then enrolled in the course as an inquiry, and from there, international students are attached to agents. You have to amend the course fees, and then the offer letter is generated. Now it's then emailed to the agent and the learner. If there's no response, there may or may not be a task, a follow-up call to check. Now the learner is then amended to current or cancelled based on their response. So it can be, and then from there, a final confirmation is emailed to the agent or learner. So although this is a standard process, it can be convoluted and complicated with many gaps. So many of us here can testify the amount of back and forth it takes for this entire process to be completed. Now, Let's introduce Wisenet Learncycles in this situation to see if we can simplify the process and reduce the number of manual touchpoints. Now, for the same enrollment process, all you need to do is enroll the learner as an inquiry and attach your agent to the course enrollment. Once you have done so, the Learncycle will create a task with the due date in 2 weeks for the assignee to follow up. The offer letter you report is automatically generated and sent with an email template to both the learner and the agent. The learners also sync to Xero at the same time, so an invoice can be issued upon acceptance. Then, once the enrollment is confirmed, the course enrollment status is then changed to current, and a confirmation email is sent to both agent and learner, and everything is stored in the logbook for record keeping. So using the Learncycle automation workflow engine, you only need to enroll the learner using their basic details and change the status as you go to trigger activities to go. This minimizes the margin for error and ensures there is a consistent workflow that occurs for your audience. Of course, Learncycles can also be used for inter-department tasking as seen in the screenshot here. The Learncycle can be used to trigger tasks for admin to check the enrollment checklists, the trainer to interview the learner for suitability, and for finance to issue an invoice in Xero. Now, this will add to the outstanding tasks in the task board, giving everyone in your training organization the best chance at completing their relevant work in order to achieve the overall organization's goals. Now, in summary, the need for us to stay connected in this new working culture is important, not only for our businesses, but also for our personal well-being and for our learners. The many challenges we face, such as the lower number of staff and most of the team working from home, can be addressed by ensuring we are utilizing our existing resources to their fullest potential. Now, we need to use the tools and resources available to us to remain engaged, work smarter, and overcome communication barriers. So as you're aware, we do also have a per learner pricing model, which Ben will talk further about.
Thanks, Nalina. So some of you may have already been contacted by myself or Mary, or have just been aware that we do have a per learner model. So some of you might be on our other model, which is a per user model. So the way the per learner model, contrary to your current model in which you just purchase additional users every time you experience growth, this is based on a per learner basis. So one of the main benefits of this particular model is that you'll get unlimited user access. So all those features and functionalities and the workflow that you can utilize on tasks and inter-department tasking and have team members do certain things at certain dates can be leveraged on, because now all admin, staff, trainers can gain access to Wisenet simultaneously. So sort of deregulates and decentralizes what's going on already. So if you've already got one specific person looking to do, that does all the relevant tasks when it comes to the Wisenet system, and it can sometimes get overworked and overloaded, now you can spread this out and spread it across multiple staff members. It also gives you the flexibility to manage the ups and downs. So COVID being a perfect example. So you get to pick the amount of learners that you have. So obviously, ideally, you want to be looking to forecast correctly, but we'll grow as you grow. So it's a very mutually beneficial way of working. So if you continue to grow, you don't need to purchase additional users. I think what I've found with a lot of customers or our clients is that some of them don't want to do it because they feel they can manage all that workload with just having 2 users, when realistically that's just too much work for those 2 people. And if you were to, delegate that accordingly throughout more staff, it would free up some more time to focus on other opportunities within the business. The way that it essentially works is you'd only pay for the students that are actually active within the month. So any student that, if they complete a course within 6 months, you would then have them, and if you have premium, you can use Learncycles to automatically switch them off to inactive and they're no longer active. But for reporting purposes, you can report on any student that was active within that year if they go into an alumni status. So if you do want to get a bit more information around this model, my details will be at the end. Feel free to pop through a message or an email. I'm more than happy to tee up a meeting and go through it, because it might not only be functionally better for you, but it could also be economically better for you as well. So definitely get in touch. And also, we do have our quiz going on now, which we'll put through to the chat. So if you want to get the opportunity to win a 500, or more importantly, a hoodie, a Wisenet hoodie, or the second prize of $500 gift card, which you can look to spend on potentially when people come back to the office and maybe get another table tennis table or something. So please submit your answers to there, and hopefully one of you guys gets it.
Thanks, Ben. We'll also be available for Q&A for the next 10 minutes, so feel free to put through any questions you may have. There's quite a few that are here, so we'll tend to them shortly. The quiz only takes a couple of minutes. It is a 3-question quiz, so please make sure that you do participate in order to win the prizes.
I guess the less people that participate, the more chance you have of winning though as well. No.
That's right. Okay, so let's have a quick.
So Ria raised her hand. Did you have a question, Ria? And in regards to Michelle's question, for the time being, we can get that to come through as an API. I think we might set up a time that we can have a bit more of a chat and go through it. But we are working on modifying and updating the sales edition, which is in our roadmap. From there, you'll be able to have leads directly come in through via your website and the potential channels into the sales CRM section, where you can nurture it from there. So it gives it a lot more seamless approach. As for now, there are ways that we can do it. So I think we'll have a bit of a chat about it in a bit more depth. We'll set up a time.
Okay, and we do have a winner for the surprise hoodie. And that winner is Kuntia. Yay, congrats Kuntia. If you can hear us, please raise your hand.
Yep.
Congratulations. There you go. Congratulations. You won yourself an exclusive Wisenet hoodie. We will contact you after the session to get some of your contact details so we can post it over to you. Of course, if we could give it to you personally, we would love to. But the next best is Australia Post.
Yeah. Fully sanitized.
Fully sanitized. Still here for more questions, so please feel free to put them either in the chat or Q&A.
When do we find out the gift card? That'd be it.
We will announce it early next week.
Yep. So
stay tuned for all of our mailers, where we announce all the winners and the recipients of the gift cards.
I've got to be honest, I was quite surprised with majority saying never in their PJs. I feel like
a lot of people are very professional, which is great.
Yeah, that's right. Routine is key.
That's right. That's right. So I'll let you guys go, but I just want to thank you once again for joining us for our virtual discovery sessions. Now, for anyone here who is a higher education or a VSL provider, we are conducting one last webinar tomorrow, and if you can still register for it, please do. I will post the link in the chat as well if you want to sign up. Now, for the majority of you, this will be the last session. So on behalf of the Wisenet team, thank you for attending our first ever series of virtual discovery sessions. Now, beyond a week, we are always here to help on one of the phone numbers below or via the support ticket system. Also, don't forget to submit your story on how Wisenet has helped you to achieve more in the time of COVID to win an extra $200 gift card as well. Now, think big, aim high, improve your skills, and we are here to help you be the Wisenet champion. Thanks, guys.